So this is the first episode in a project that I'm working on in which I go through all of the games that my old man didn't get to play before he died, or games that he didn't get to finish. He wasn't that great at finishing games either. So you can call me Raven, and this is Raven's Rest. Somehow not taken on YouTube. I went through so many different names. I'm bad at naming things, so I eventually settled on this, and wow, it's actually not taken. So anyway, I decided to go with a fairly simple game, relatively speaking, to begin with, and I decided to go with Octopath Traveler because my entire family grew up playing JRPGs. My grandpa loves his Final Fantasies, and he only really stopped playing once they started going more actiony. They stopped being all turn-based, and eventually, let's see, who else? My old man loved his shovelware JRPGs typically. He has a half a dozen or so, or had half a dozen or so. And the PS4, whenever we would go to the GameStop, he would go and look at these games that were $5 or $10 for a used copy, and I'd constantly tell him, I mean, we can just play these, good games, and be like, nah, it's $5, it's well worth it. And I'm like, I don't think it is though, old man. So I was looking through my Steam library and I was thinking to myself, well, I've got a list of like 120 games that I gotta get through. It's enormous. I don't even own all the games. It's just I also have a LibreOffice calc document of all the games. And when you really sit down and think about it, and you're like, oh, surely it can't be too many games that he didn't finish. And then you look at all the games and the fact that they're in series, and you think to yourself, oh, he didn't finish a lot of these games. Plus, it's an issue of just I would like to play through the games before the games that he didn't get to, so I get the full context. Or it's just reminiscing on older games, like Kingdom Hearts, for example. I didn't play anything after two, and he played a bunch of the more the handheld ones and stuff. He would play on the PSP and all that, and I have bad motion illness issues, so I just couldn't do that. And so anyway, they've got, the big compilations where it's all HD remaster stuff on Steam, just for like, I don't know, like $50 or so. I'd have to look up again. I haven't gotten them yet. I'm waiting for the summer sale or something. And so I was sitting here and I was like, I've got so many of these games I just gotta get through. And then I was like, well, Square Enix has a sale going on right now. What's even more games? So I said to myself, Octopath Traveler. I've always had my eye on it, because my family grew up playing the Final the Fantasies and Chrono Trigger and all the other such things, and I was like, surely another $15 game. Oh, what's that gonna? 123 games or so I gotta finish. So I picked up Octopath Traveler, and then I started doing research on it, and I, sat through a whole bunch of YouTube videos, thinking on, oh, well, if there's 8 adventurers, surely there's better ones and worse ones to start with, and so I looked for ones that had access to content that the other ones wouldn't early on, and so that eventually led me to settle on the Thief, since the Thief can get into purple boxes, treasure chests or whatever, and I didn't want to have to backtrack too much, though having played... I'm actually recording the audio after recording like a dozen hours of footage, and each hour I'm gonna cut down, I'm gonna use to have enough footage to have a visual accompaniment to this audio uh, masterpiece that is currently being produced. This is my 5th time trying to record this introduction. So anyway, yes, Therion, the thief boy, the steely twink, he can get into these purple boxes that nobody else can. The runner-ups were oh hell, I can't remember, the nerd, the guy who he can use spells and stuff. Cyrus? Man, I went through all. I've gone through like six of the backstories already. I just got to get the dancer and the warrior dude. Anyway, the professor, the guy that got accused of stuff and went on forced sabbatical, and Cyrus? It's a guy. It's like a Cyrus. It's a very Cyrusy name. I don't know if it's Cyrus, but I'll just call him Cyrus. Watch it just be Cyrus, and I'm just overthinking it. And then Tressa. I can remember Tressa. Her name's a pun based on treasurer, and she's the merchant class. And those two are the ones most interested in me. Mostly, I read up a little bit on their stories. I don't care too much about spoil. Oh, speaking of, yeah, I'm just. If you're watching this, if you're listening, and you don't really have to watch it, I mostly just, I did the gameplay. I've tried doing regular Let's Plays before. I always run into technical issues. In fact, part of the reason why this is like the fifth time me trying to do this intro is, in Audacity kept trying to pick up the wrong audio through the wrong devices, and that caused me problems. So, yeah, now I actually got it working on my headset. Though I'm gonna have to re-mess around with the actual audio capture because this is a bit louder than I would like it to be. And so anyway, gameplay, play for an hour, record. I'm gonna cut it down into whatever fits the amount of time that I'm talking into this for. See, once I get talking, I'm pretty good at keeping up the talking. Over the years, I've tried doing so many different Let's Plays. New Vegas is my most favorite. I've tried doing that 5 times or so. I've gotten into heavy editing with it. Ooh, so much time spent, so much experience gained to realize I hate editing, and so this is me trying to make it so much easier to have a gameplay series in which I can just talk over the footage and not have to worry about it. I'm not even watching the footage right now. I'm just looking at. I have notes, and I haven't even begun on the notes besides saying the name of the channel and what its purpose is. So yeah, he died back in 2023. Very sad. He was the last of my parents. I'm very good at losing them. It's my favorite terrain is the graveyard in which all of my parents are buried, but not actually. None of them could afford graves, you see. I had to get him cremated, and then my grandparents took issue with me and the way I tried handling it, because when I was 16, he said to me, hey, I never want my body to be taken to be possessed by grandma. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm 16 years old, but sure. And then his other gift to me when I was 16 was, if I'm ever put on, I can't do his voice. If I ever get put on, if I ever go into a coma, you have to personally be the one to pull the plug on me. And I was like, I guess I'll be the good child, and except this is my 16th birthday. So, that's a good indicator of how our relationship went. Yeah. So I'm 31. He died when I was 29. And he wasn't that old himself. I want to say he was like 51. Let's see, if he was born in 71, then 2 years ago. 52? Roughly. Birthdays are weird. It was like 4 months before his birthday. So yeah, he died. A bunch of family stuff happened, and I decided. Well, we both loved gaming. I would spend. He would play things like God of War, and he had carpal tunnel. I'm slowly developing it myself, so I have hand problems myself. But between that and some other issue like nerve damage, he struggled with like the button mashing and the puzzle parts of the game, and so I would have to do those for him. Not that I would mind, though. I did actually mind after a while. Looking back after years of just wait, I'd just be sitting on the side watching him play or playing my own thing or reading something or writing something or playing with a cat or doing some homework or something, and he'd be like, hey, I can't get through this puzzle. I'd watch him do it for like 20 minutes and just not get through it. Then I'd get through it in like 30 seconds or so. I didn't mind the ones where it was sincerely just because of his carpal tunnel issues, because those were less of an issue for me. And like I didn't feel bad that he couldn't do that, because I was like, well, it's just your thumb's a little fucky wucky, and so I didn't mind that. I minded more he couldn't outthink puzzles, and that would really get to me when he couldn't outthink the puzzles, and I would just sit there for like 20. And he doesn't want me to be a backseat player, but then at 20-minute mark or so, he'd be like, "Yeah, just finish it," and I'd go over and I'd finish it. But yeah, this game has been pretty wonderful so far, 12 hours in or so, and I'd have to say that it's really stunningly beautiful, especially in the snowy regions and where there's sand. You see sparkles along the snow and the sand. And having grown up in Michigan, I'm well used to snow, and I've been near sand. I've been on sand. We got a bunch of Great Lakes, and well, there's a lot of sand around them. Even well, you no more than like three. I want to say it's like 3 miles, because 3 hours is pretty far, even walking. Yeah, 3 hours of walking is pretty far. That's what, like 9 miles. See, I'd say it's 3 miles. You're no more than 3 miles away from a body of water in Michigan. Clean, maybe. I'd hope so, because we're nowhere near Flint. So I'd hope that the water would be clean. Anyway, this is the first. Well, I guess, yeah, I went over the notes. Let's see, talk about the game a bit, why I chose the character. Yeah, I chose him because I wanted to get into purple boxes. I hate missing things. In Dragon Age, I feel compelled to play a rogue, unless it's truly more wonderful to play as a mage, in which case, most of the time it is. Dragon Age, oh man, there's so many games. Dragon Age Origins, all those games are on the list. I'll even have to go through Veilguard? Veilguard, yeah. The Veilguard. I think its official title ended up being The Veilguard, which made it messier. Because the Dreadwolf was pretty cool, and then they were like, actually, it's about your friends. I love friends in games and stuff. I love being a therapist to uh, maladjusted, very poorly, just riddled with daddy issues, just disaster bisexuals left and right. Some of them are made of rocks and non-rock materials. So yeah, what else? I guess yeah, I'm looking at my notes. What else has stood for me in the game? The gameplay, pretty. It's pretty. I like that it's simple. I play tabletop games a lot, so I enjoy. Actually, that's why I yeah, actually, yeah, I better talk about that. That's why I really did get this, is because I was getting into a tabletop game called Fabula Ultima, and I was like, I should get in the mood for old school JRPG stuff, and then I was like, oh, let's look at the Chrono Trigger on Steam and see if it's a good port, and from the reports, not a great port, so I was like, well, what else is cheap? And it was either this or it was Final Fantasy 15, and I'm like, 15, not a bad option, but I've heard it's got a sad ending, and it's not old-timey JRPG from the 90s. So I was like, well, I guess I'll get Octo Octo Octopath Traveler, not Octopath Traveler. And especially since there's a second game, and I heard the second game's even better. And from having played 12 hours of this game, it's fantastic. I sincerely enjoy it. Gameplay wise, the brake system pretty good. It took me about 9 or so recordings to realize I could use the power boost. I can't remember what the term, but the BP point, the battle points. I could use battle points. So the battle points I assumed was just for doing like melee attacks and stuff, where it's like, oh, you're running low on SP, which is kind of like your special points. So I guess kind of like MP in a way. And so I was saying, oh, you just do a lot of attacks when you are low on your SP because you can't do your special moves. And then I realized after trying it, oh, I can empower all these cool abilities. And that's one of the coolest things so far is how that functions. Overall, it's just a very easy to understand. The entire framework, everything just plays so well together. A downside, though, so far is that, and of course, I could just look in the instructional bits in the menus. Is that the when I get status effects, I don't know what they are. I just look at the little effect and I'm like, is my guy confused? Should I give him this substance? And the answer is no. I should have not given them that substance. I would just go through all these different
Oh,
herbs and
great.
they're all wrong.
Okay.
Turns out I was asleep or something. So anyway, I think this is a pretty good
Unrelated
spot to
interaction.
stop it. I'm over the 15-minute mark, and I didn't expect to start just rambling
My
off
name
like
is
this, but
Cordelia
I'm gonna try
Reyes,
and
and
record like
I am a
the
maiden
three or
of
four
Remembrance.
more of these, and I'll just keep letting myself ramble.
Regards to your decorator.
So yeah, I
I
guess
sure am familiar with
this
traps.
is it.